Here at WTOL 11, we have a media partnership with the Toledo Free Press, and the Free Press has a new podcast you might want to listen in on. Jaden Jefferson is here so we could learn more about Behind the Byline. Did you come up with that name?
You know what? It was actually the editor-in-chief of the Free Press, Lori King. It was her idea, and we actually went through so many names. It was crazy.
I've known Lori a long time, and I've known Tom for a long time, too. I'm glad that the Free Press is back up and operating again.
Yeah.
Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a few years. You've kind of grown a little bit and matured, and you're now 16. Back in
17 now.
The last time I talked to you, Grandma had to drive you
Yes.
everywhere for all your little, even when you're doing news stories,
right.
Shooting stories, your grandma took you around town, but now you're a little more independent than you were.
Yeah, now I get to see why people complain about people's driving. I get it now. I now have to see firsthand how people drive.
Did you drive much during winter conditions at all?
I did some winter driving, but we didn't get much snow this year, so it was actually manageable. It was not too bad.
Well, you'll get the hang of it eventually.
Oh, yeah.
So catch me up. You're a junior at Maumee Valley Country
Yes.
Day. What's been your focus was on journalism from a very early age. Where is it right now?
Still on journalism. You know, the biggest thing for me, I think, has kind of been maturing my journalism, because I think I'm more so focused on doing those in-depth stories, long-form stories, those policy and legislative stories that are complicated, and just making them make sense for folks. And that's been my biggest goal.
What's your long-term career goal?
Definitely to stay in this line of work, because I think that there's just a shortage of stories that kind of help people understand how policy affects them, how the things government does affect them. And so I'm definitely going down that route, because, you know, we're not doing a service if we're not making it make sense. And so that's my biggest goal.
What was your earliest time in your life that you wanted to go toward journalism as a career?
Well, it's interesting. There were kind of a few different points where I was like, this might be the thing for me. The first was just remembering that I was watching news at a very young age, just getting ready for school in the morning.
So was I.
Yeah, it was on in the background in our house all the time. And I think that might have played a role in it. But then also getting to meet our local weather meteorologist when I was just, I think, 7 or 8. And that experience was really formative. Like, I think that was a time when I was thinking I might actually have to go into this field.
I was about 8 years old in Cub Scouts, and we took a road trip to a TV station. It was the first time I got to be in a TV studio and see the lights and the camera people and the behind-the-scenes stuff.
It's magical.
It is magical, and I've been in this career now almost 50 years, and it's just as exciting now as it was the first day I was into it. I'm really happy for you having discovered the same bug that many of us in our newsroom. Yeah, it really does. So tell me about your podcast. It's on how often, and how long has it been going on? Yeah,
so there is a new episode every Wednesday at ToledoFreePress.com and on Spotify. And this podcast really just helps you break down those complicated issues. For this week's episode, for example, we were kind of talking about housing discrimination, which obviously is a moral problem and it really affects people deeply. But we were talking about the externalities and how that actually affects all of us due to the economic reasons. When you think about the fact that a child who's moving from place to place to place, they're going to likely be affected by that. Maybe it's in their educational outcomes and their earning potential, and that affects the local economy. So we're really just kind of taking those big issues and kind of helping people understand what the impact of them are.
And sadly, right now, housing is a real problem because of the economy and a lot of new laws. There's a lot more homeless than we used to have, and how we deal with the homeless, and that's a whole different subject for your podcast.
Yes, that definitely is a big one, because the unhoused community continues to grow. Because obviously the economy has been strong through COVID, but there also is the issue of people that are unhoused, that number growing. And we also saw that in 2024, it grew, I believe, by 18%. And so there are definitely more and more people becoming homeless. And it just goes to show that we're really getting into a time when people are going through a lot, and we haven't exactly had the solutions ready, systemic solutions, not just temporary fixes.
So your program, you like to stay with a lot of politics, things like that, and get into issues and behind the issues to kind of explain things?
Right. And I like to describe it as kind of taking the politics out of the issues, because issues only become political when it becomes an election.
Sure.
And there's obviously people who want to keep their jobs, and it becomes a political issue. But issues start as just issues. And so I think that this show kind of helps people understand that, and just to put into perspective that we have a lot of different solutions. We all have our ideas of how to fix them. Let's just put everyone at the table and just see what we come up with.
So you prefer journalism route and not tempted to go into politics for yourself?
I don't ever want to go into politics. I think there's no shortage of people who want to go into a politics situation, but for me, I think just being able to call people out when they're saying things that are inaccurate, being able to hold them accountable, and then also being able to check and cross-reference, I feel like that's my stronger suit. I feel like I would make a great politician. I'd be able to communicate my vision, but I'd rather just hold folks accountable.
This way you can inform people and help people at the same time.
Yes, there's a shortage of journalists, but there's not a shortage of politicians.
That's true. A noble cause for sure. Jaden Jefferson,
Thank
you so much for being here today. Bright young man.